Hi, welcome to Chatty Cathy. Today I have nationally syndicated radio talk show host Rusty Humphries.
We just started the show, so the phone lines aren't quite lit up yet, but we've got a couple of phone lines here. So this tells me Brando in Kansas is calling. It's the name of the radio station. See it all across all over the world by going to ustream.tv/Rusty. So now we're about to go on live, and
Rusty, 5 seconds coming in. I'll bring you in live.
All right, here we go. Here's some other big news just coming out today. Obama is going to publish on the internet.
Tell me, Rusty, how you first got into media.
It was a Boy Scout thing at school, and they said, "You want to learn radio?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And so on the first day we went down there, and they said, "Okay, whatever you were to do, you're never, ever, 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 ever to go talk to the DJs." So when everybody was doing what they were supposed to do, I snuck upstairs and was talking to the DJs. And there was a news guy, and he was mad about something. He's throwing stuff at the wall, cussing and swearing, and I'm 16 and I'm stupid. I go, "Gosh, is there anything I can do to help?" "Yeah, I don't want to go to this Sonics game tomorrow. He's a tape recorder, he's a pass. Go get me some tape." I have no idea what he's saying. So I go to the game. There's my name on the thing. I'm in the press box. The game's over. The Sonics win the game. I get some notes, and I notice the other team had a bunch of injuries. So I'm in the locker room, and all these naked basketball players are there, and everybody's interviewing the coach, who was Lenny Wilkins, who's a big coach. So I walk up to him with everybody else, and I say, "Coach, you think the reason the Sonics won tonight was because of the other team's injuries?" And the locker room falls silent. And he says, "What'd you say to me?" "You think the reason the Sonics won tonight was because the other team's injuries?" And he takes my microphone and, yeah, blankety blank blank, mother blank, blankety blank, throws me out of the locker room my first day. And I take the tape back to the station, and they hated Lenny Wilkins. They thought it was the funniest thing they ever heard. And they played the tape and edited it out and made sure I went to every game after that, hoping I would tick somebody else off. And that's how I got started.
That's amazing.
It's just stupid.
Something negative turned into a positive.
Yes, because I was a stupid fat kid. And so everybody got to laugh at little Rusty. And so I'd go and so I spent my last 2 years of high school at the press box of every Mariners, Seahawks, Sonics game, and went to every game in high school. So.
And did you have a really good voice early on?
I have a terrible radio voice. You know, me and Mark Levin, we have these terrible, "Hi, everybody," radio voices.
But you sound like Rush Limbaugh. I used to think you were him.
I'm not Rush Limbaugh.
But you've worked with him.
I did work with Rush.
What happened there?
Rush and I worked at a radio station in New York. I knew who he was. He didn't know who I was. And at first, everybody thought that I was his son because when he was a kid, they called him Rusty. And we used to joke about that, haha, isn't that funny? And one day he was doing a Howard Cosell impression. He does great impressions. I go, "You know what? I do these song parodies. Let me give you one. It was before the first Gulf War. It was a song called Bomb Iraq. Bomb, 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 bomb Iraq. And I play him the song, and he goes, "Well, how would I play it, young man?" I said, "I don't care. Just say it's the Rush Limbaugh singers." I don't know. He puts it on the air and gets all this great response. And so the next day, "What else can you do? What else can you do?" I don't know. I do a stupid Mike Tyson impression. "Let me hear it. Come on, Mr. Limbo. Let me kick the butt. Come on, Mr. Limbo. Come on. Come on. Go down there. Call me. Call me." So I do this little bit with him. "Sorry I'm late, Mr. Limbo. I was driving down the street, and I thought it signed that said clean restrooms ahead. I'm going to clean about 150 of them. So he's laughing, having a good time. He waves me over, and he reaches in his pocket, pulls out this wad of cash. I've never seen it before, like a big wad of cash. Hands me 9 $100 bills. "Keep them coming, young man. Keep them coming." So I did all the funny bits and songs for Rush for the beginning of his national show.
One of my favorite segments is when you had Suzanne Somers. She talks about hormones and nutrition and things, and you were a heavier person at one time. And in my mind, I'm thinking she was instrumental in getting you to switch gears, or was it another reason?
I stopped on my own, thought I got malaria. I was in Darfur and I was drinking water. It was just this horrible, horrible thing. I forgot to take my malaria pills, and I went to the doctor after when I got back. "Doc, I think I got malaria." "Why don't you take the pills?" I forgot. So he comes back, he goes, you ain't got malaria." "Oh, really? Okay, well, what's the problem?" He goes, "Now you know you're diabetic, right?"
Did you know?
No. And then 2 months later, my wife died. So
Wow.
I turned my life around.
Can you talk a little bit about your wife?
She got sick 6 months into our marriage. It was called interstitial cystitis. It basically means there's something wrong with your bladder, and we don't know what it is. And for her, the way she would describe it was shards of glass in her bladder. When I found her, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, I'm thinking about, what am I going to, oh my gosh, my wife is gone. I've got 2 little girls. How do I call her mother? You know, that was tough. It was tough. It's been a tough few years. Suzanne listens to the radio show every night, which I had no idea, which is very cool. And
like religiously every night?
So she says. I mean, I don't stalk her or anything much. But, she says she listens to the show. She had her people call and say, could she be on the show to talk about her book? And we just became friends, and we talked to each other off the air, and been to her house, and she's made dinner. I took the Suzanne Somers challenge, whether to see if she's insane or onto something on this anti-aging stuff.
You're an avid runner now. You run how often?
3-4 times a week, 4 or 5 times a week. Yeah.
And you've entered marathons? You did one in Florida by
I did Disney World,
and
yeah.
It's cold?
Oh, it was like 29 degrees. It was awful. It's the coldest day in Florida on record.
We're in global warming, though.
I know.
I mean, really, we've got a huge, huge crisis going on.
You
in this
need to go
country.
back in August. I predicted this would be one of the coldest winters on record. And everybody laughed. How could you? And even your husband said, "How could you have predicted in August?" Because
How?
because I did a little thing.
It was hot, wasn't it?
It was hot, but I
Okay.
did a little thing called
Use your
research.
brain? Oh, okay.
A little research. And the way you can tell the temperature is by sunspot activity. Lots of sunspot activity, you're going to have more heat. Little sunspot activity, it's going to be colder. We've had some of the least amount of sunspot activity in history. That's why it's so cold. I had been to Israel about 6 times, and I wanted to meet a terrorist. And I've seen all kinds of stuff, and I wanted to get the other side. And so I bribed a guy $200 to get me to meet a terrorist. And he took a check. And I said, okay, no comebacky, no cashy. Oh, no, my friend, everything good. We'll be fine, we'll be fine. We ended up meeting the leaders of the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade, which was Yasser Arafat's personal terrorist unit.
Okay, did you feel threatened? Did you feel like, hey, they're not going to do anything to me? Or did you think,
At
hey,
first,
on some level-
at first I didn't care. I didn't think anything. And when we got there, 4 guys with machine guns came out of cars and put them in our backs and said, go, no, go, and upstairs, and we ran into the rooms, and these guys were sitting around with machine guns. And, you know, you're an interviewer, so I'm sitting there, I just had machine guns in my back. It's like, you ever shoot that gun? He goes, yes, of course. I go, when? He goes, last night. I said, who'd you shoot?
An interviewer.
He said, no. He said, IDF, Israeli Defense Forces. I go, did you kill anybody? He goes, no, but I hit 2. I said, why were they coming after you? And he starts yelling at me, what, I should give them a rose for coming to my house? You want me to give them a rose? And it went downhill for a while. It got pretty scary. And then in the middle of the interview, he gets on the phone and gives a translation. Hey, we have stupid fat white American here. He's very funny. Come on over. So now we got 9 guys with machine guns,
Rusty.
all terrorists. And one of the guys, they told me, yes, he's going to be a martyr. The answer was, how do we end this thing? It's when all the Jews die. But the fun thing, you want to know one of the fun parts?
Yes.
One of the funnest parts is the bigger the conspiracy theory, the more they believe it. My favorite conspiracy is, it was the Jews that sent Monica Lewinsky in to have sex with Bill Clinton so the Jews could run America.
What?
It's all believed like 100%.
Had you heard that before? I mean, that was a new...
No, I'd heard that. I'd
never
heard that before over there, and then I also told him a joke. Osama bin Laden gets killed by a daisy cutter. He's blown to bits. He goes up and sees the great voice, and when he walks into the light, there's George Washington. And George Washington says, you tried to destroy the country I founded, how dare you? Punches Osama bin Laden right in the face, blood squirting everywhere. Now again, everything's being translated. George Washington, and the guys are going, ooh. Next, Thomas Jefferson comes up and says, I wrote the Declaration of Independence, and you tried to take the independence from our country. How dare you? Kicks him right in the nuts. And next thing you know, 70 other guys with a love of American country come and just beat the living tar out of Osama bin Laden. After the beating, and Osama bin Laden laying in a pool of his own blood, he looks up and he says, Allah, this is not what I promised. And the voice said, I said 72 Virginians, dummy, Virginians. And watching the translator go, Virginian.
Did they know?
And the guys just look at me like, just this death silence of, you are the dumbest human being on planet Earth. Let's just kill him now and get it over with. Was kind of...
Okay, but Rusty,
Yeah.
they could have taken you and killed you.
I went to Iraq, and I remember talking with one of the interpreters who was with a bunch of soldiers. And this was at the peak of, George Bush's evil and America's evil. I said, well, I hear you're an Iraqi, so you hate Americans. Which soldier would you kill first if you had a chance? Who say I hate American soldiers? Michael Moore.
Okay.
Who's Michael Moore?
Good.
Okay, Dan Rather. Dan Rather says you hate all Americans. I don't know what you're talking about. He says, let me tell you something. These are my heroes. I love every one of these because without them I have no chance. My daughters have no opportunity because now I have opportunity. My daughters go to school. I get the job. I have chance. I do not worry about Saddam and his brothers trying to kill me. We have opportunity and chance for first time in life. And I want to say to all Americans, thank you very much.
Wow,
And he was tears, and I heard that over and over and over again. It's funny how I was there for 5 days, and I heard that 100 times, and yet I've never seen it on TV.
Like CNN.
Yeah,
You would never hear
never
it,
once.
especially CNN.
Yeah.
You were in London,
Yeah.
where there was some angry Muslims protesting.
Getting very Islamicized in London. And so I just wanted to see it. I went to the London Central Mosque. I picked it just because it sounded central, London Central Mosque. We went on a Friday night. Afterward, they had this rally. I pulled a guy aside who was one of the leaders, and I said, listen, I'm not in this fight. I'm an American guy. I'm a Christian. I'm not a Jew. What can we do to get along? And he goes, listen, you have the Bible. We have the Quran. In the Quran, it says the Jews and the Christians hate you. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can convert to Islam, and instead of your name being Rasti, you can change it to Muhammad. We'd be very good friends. Our book, just like your book, has prophecy, and we are going to take over the world. And he's very nonchalant
Yeah,
and
no,
very
he believes this.
Not just that he believes it. It's just it's
a fact.
It's a fact. You know, this doll is my daughter's. It's black. It's a horse. They're going to take over the world, and we sit around and think, oh, that's a radical guy. They're never going to do it. They want to.
So you've been to Gitmo.
I've been there 3 times, and the first time I got to know the warden pretty well. His name is Colonel Mike Baumgartner. He goes, I want you to come back and speak to the troops. I'll do it under one condition. What's that? Any door that's locked in Guantanamo, you have to open for me. Deal. Any door. Deal. Okay, great. So we're walking through, and I mean, like right over there would be the most dangerous terrorists in the world. Their cells right there. And I go, open that one. Boy, you don't want to open that door. Colonel, you made me a deal. Any door. Boy, you sure? Yes, sir. Okay, we walk in. He opens the door. Two soldiers in there. They stand up. Honor bound, sir. At ease, boys. This is Mr. Humphries. He's a radio talk show host. I want you to tell him what you're doing here. Sir, you have my permission. This is where we keep the Klondike bars and Pepsi. What? If the detainees behave themselves on Friday, they get Klondike bars and Pepsi. Oh, come on, you're making that up. Would you like one, sir?
Of course you. What did you do? Okay, but that is.
I mean, they
spoil them.
They spoil them. I mean, it's. I'll give you another one. I saw an interrogation, and they couldn't see me. It was on camera, and it's like, so, you want smoke or chew? I'll take chew. You hungry? Yes. What do you want? You want McDonald's? You want Domino's? Pizza Hut? What would you like? I love a Pizza Hut. What would you like on it? No Tether Brothers? No. Pepperoni? No problem. We got you covered.
Oh, that's good. Don't tell the brothers.
I saw him do that.
Are you making that up?
No, not one bit.
Okay.
That's exactly.
Wow.
And they sit around and they talk. They don't beat these guys. And this guy tells a story, and 6 months later, another guy tells a story, and a year later, another guy tells a story, and they put all this stuff together, and we were able to stop Operation Bojingo, which was supposed to have 10 or 12 planes blow up between America or England and America. This plot was the one where, you know why you can't bring liquids on planes anymore?
Right.
That plot was discovered at Guantanamo, and that's why we were able to stop it. Shh. That's why Guantanamo is so important. And the idea that, hey, we're just going to shut it down, we're going to move them to America.
I know.
It's insane. It's putting your politics and your kook fringe base above the security of our nation. And your job as president, Mr. Obama, is to protect the people.
He seems to be wanting to pal up with these people. Is it wise what he's doing? I think he makes us look weak.
A guy who's supposed to be the most transparent guy in the history of our country is the most non-transparent guy.
People think he's a socialist. And then others say, no, he's not a socialist. There's no way.
When he lived in Hawaii and he was a kid, his grandfather decided he wanted to have an African-American influence on him. Great. So he brings in a guy who is a Marxist and a pedophile. They mentored, they talked, they hung out. Then he goes to college. And he writes a book.
Bill Ayers, you think, wrote it?
I do. William Ayers tried to kill 3,000 soldiers at one shot. This is a bad, bad guy. And Barack Obama thinks it's acceptable to start
be
his
friends.
campaign there and be friends? I mean, if somebody came up to you and you started hanging out with him and you later found out he had been a terrorist he tried to blow up the Pentagon and try to kill 3,000 soldiers, would you still pal around with him?
No.
No, but Barack Obama says, you know what, I'm going to join a group and help change education with you. Now, does he believe everything William Ayers says? I don't know. Did he believe everything that the tutor, I don't know. How about Jeremiah Wright and black liberation theology? Did he listen to everything for 20 years? I don't know. If he paid no attention to all those guys, I still have a problem with his judgment. Would you hang out with that many guys that didn't like America? Would you hang out with that many people that hated everything that we stand for? I wouldn't. So maybe there's a question of judgment
And
there.
I wouldn't hang out with Obama.
Well, there you go. But
And
that's
his
me.
approval rating is just dropping like quicker than anybody.
Yes, because they're starting to figure out, what's the word? Oh yeah, he's lying to them.
Exactly.
And he has been. And it's, this is a guy who, because he was a blank slate, everybody thought he's going to be this way or he'll be that way. You were able to project who you thought he would be.
Well, this hope and change thing, what is the hope and what is I mean, he is changing things.
Oh, there's change.
Dramatically.
Yeah.
But he never articulated what that was going to be.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so everybody's in shock, I think, like what's happening to our country. Not everybody, but a lot of people.
People really didn't understand how radical he is.
Okay, so you've met presidents,
Mm-hmm.
musicians, actors, athletes. Okay, who was the most influential?
I was living in Dallas, Texas, and the rumor was Ross Perot was going to run for president, and he used to go to this diner. And I'm in the neighborhood, and I wonder if Ross Perot is having lunch.
You just wondered that?
So I pull in,
Okay.
and Ross Perot is sitting at a table by himself. Mr. Perot, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but my name's Rusty Humphries, and I'm a fan. I just want to say hi. Have a seat, son, have a seat. So I have lunch with Ross Perot, and at the end of the lunch, I say, Mr. Perot, what's your advice you give to all the kids? And let me tell you something, son. When I was a little kid, I had a paper route. And on this paper route, I'm 7, 8, 9 years old, and on the paper route, I have a problem. And I pick up the phone, and I call the publisher of the paper. And I said, sir, my name's H. Ross Perot. And after he stopped laughing at me, I told him my problem, and the problem got fixed lickety-split. So my advice is always go to the top man. Whatever it is you want to learn, whatever it is you want to do, find the top man and get to know him. And so I've taken that advice, and when I wanted to learn about self-improvement, I got to know Tony Robbins. When I wanted to learn health advice, I got to know Suzanne Somers. When I wanted to be a personal trainer, I got to know Jillian Michaels from The Biggest Loser. When I wanted to get into politics, I got to know Karl Rove. And so I've taken all these things and try to get the best people and get to learn from them. When I was a tour guide at Universal Studios, one time, the tram stopped and Dirk Benedict was there. That's when he was like the big star of the A-Team. And he stopped the tram and shook hands with everybody and was just nice to everybody. And that was like a really cool thing because as a tour guide, you want the people that are on the tram to, feel excited. Man, Dirk Benedict was the man, and he did that. It was really cool. And then about 6 months ago, he came up to my show and did the show with me, and I told him that story. And he said, you know what, Rusty? Now I'm here on your show learning how to do radio from you.
Are you still sick?
I'm still a little sick,
Are
sore
you giving
throat.
it to me?
Probably.
I woke up with a slight sore throat today.
Oh, good, it's
I was
coming.
th-
It's coming. Good luck.
I got it from you then.
Yeah, you got the cooties from the kid at from the kid at Duke's.
Okay, so what
He
do
was
you...
a coughing sprinkler. He was a pig virus sprinkler. And Mama, it ain't funny. Isn't Junior funny? No.
Tell us one story, a childhood story of Rusty that would give you the impression that he was going to become a talk show host.
You mean the Larry King story?
Well, I was trying to act like I didn't know, but okay.
That's what,
Okay.
I just blurted
I was
out.
trying to-
So I'm getting all these long distance, expensive telephone bills
Did you
from
blame
New
your
York City.
husband?
We were so confused because he didn't know anyone in New York. We were in Seattle. We knew anybody on the East Coast. Nobody. So one night we're laying in bed and we're listening to Larry King, and here's this Rusty.
Seattle, hello.
Seattle, hello.
Chatty Cathy
Congratulations.
show's always the best. Go
Thank
watch.
you.
Turn it in again.
Okay.
Don't
Aloha.
don't blame this show on her. It's my fault. It's my fault.
Imagine there's no America. Oh, this isn't hard to do. No one to kill or blow up, and no Hebrew too. imagine all the Muslims living life in peace. Allah, I have issued this fatwa, and I'm not the only one. And by the sword you'll join us, then the world will live as one.